Hey guys, this is Morsk. I've been working with Unarybit's Crop Farm over here, trying to make it easier to build, to take up less space, and to use a few less villagers in the center. You still need one farmer per layer, but you only need half as many hungry villagers per layer. Each one does 2 layers at once. Now, none of this will make the farm any faster or even any slower, really. Every test I have done for every variant of this, whether the layers are 5 blocks apart or 4 or 3, every test is within 2% of every other test, and you'll see my actual data at the end. But efficiency is not what you get. What you get is making these take up less space so you can build more of them, or just have fewer villagers in the middle, so it's probably a little less lag. This is a testing area where I'll show the design at the center of the farm. In 3 steps, I'll show the 3 design elements that go into it. The first is to give the hungry villagers, which are on the left here, give them a full inventory of seeds. And that enables a lot of things that weren't possible before. Many of them are bad, but some of them are very simple and effective. Like here, the crop is simply getting tossed straight through him with minimal design here and a lot of compacting the farm from being 5 blocks high to 3. And not even needing a water stream. The crops are going straight into the collection area. That works just how it is, but we can do better. Down here is an idea I found in a comment Nathan Ryan left on Aussie33's Chunk Farm, and that's that if everything is close enough together in the center, you can have 2 farmers share a single hungry villager. Now, the comment had some other special circumstances about chunk farms that I can just completely ignore by loading the hungry villager with seeds. At that point, you can do almost anything you want. And in fact, the design we were using already just was already good enough for this. Just being on half a slab is already enough to put him in range of the higher farmer. And of course, he's in range of the lower one as well. And that works just the way it is. There's one reason I wouldn't use it, and that's this upper farmland here leaks carrots. It's the dark farmland that will pop off its crop on block updates. And sometimes they land on the top like they're supposed to, and sometimes they land here. And he will pick them up. 10 to 12 single carrots an hour he'll pick up. It's not enough to affect the efficiency of the farm. In fact, I analyzed it, but it is enough that I would be uncomfortable alternating the crops from layer to layer. I would double up at least 2 carrot guys on the same hungry villager, and there's no reason to worry about that when we do have a better design. Over here, we have one with a water stream added on top, and this is an idea I got from ETA 740's Chunk Farm, that the water, as long as it's near a hole, will flow towards it, and it's very simple and effective solution for the top, just like that. The bottom is the same as it always was, half a slab and throwing the vegetable right through him. On the top, well, the improvement we have is now when that carrot pops off, it's not going to land anywhere it shouldn't. It's going to land on the slab and get taken over by the water. And together, those design elements seem to solve all the problems. I think this one is perfect. We'll see if anyone can make it even better than this. And it's easy to adapt to taller farms if you want a greater Y distance than 3 for aesthetic reasons. Now with 3, we have the design almost flush. The villagers are almost flush with each other. There's half a block of difference. To make it work with 4, the only change is we now have a block and a half of distance, but the design is all identical. From the top going down, it's the same, and from up here, the villager just has to point his head a little higher when he throws, but the carrot will arc through the hungry villager and fall down into the collection area exactly as well as it would before. You can do it with 5 as well, and this is basically ETA 740's design from his chunk farm. By giving the hungry villager seeds, I made it a little thinner for putting in the middle of a farm instead of at a chunk border. And I actually haven't tested this a lot. I'm just showing it to you. If you were interested in doing this at a Y difference of 5, I would look at ETA 740's video where he tested it for several hours. Giving villagers seeds is easy. At some point, you're going to have the villager stuck in a minecart where he's not running around, and that's the perfect time. I take out 9 stacks, a little square. The villager can only hold 8, but the way I do it makes me feel like I know it's working. So you throw 9 at him, and now when I walk on him and get 1 back, and only 1, I know he picked up 8. And I would name tag him at this point, but you don't have to. And if you'll notice, he's not a farmer. He does not need to be a farmer to pick up seeds. Farmers are the only ones that can use them, but all villagers will pick them up. The lighting is a mix of many easy choices and a few tricky ones at the center. The easy ones are the ones I've placed as glowstone. Because we don't have a ceiling anymore, we can't put lights there. That is, ceiling would be taking them from someone's farmland above us, and the alternative is taking them from our own farmland here. Any place we can put a light that isn't one of those is something we would do. So 8 over the water, and then enough in the outer wall, which turns out to be also 8. You would always take those before you worried about other places that would cost farmland. Now, in the center, we do have to lose farmland, and we also have to be careful not to overlight the central block there. So this one works, and it does come out of our floor, and it doesn't overlight that. This is in the mirrored position, and this is basically free. The reason I count that as free is that the one we placed here is lighting both above and below it for 1 light. So get 2 for 1 there, consider that one free. And then in the back, these are also free. We need a blocks here in the drop shaft anyway, and it happens to light the entire back area just fine. And it also, the light will diffuse before it reaches the dark block there. It's absolutely perfect and completely free, except aesthetically, where, I mean, this is ugly. I know other people think this is ugly, the opaque drop shaft, and there is an alternative. With transparent blocks, you would move the lights to where I have the pink clay in the floor and ceiling at the cost of a single farmland. And that works just as well. Light is reaching everywhere it should without overlighting the center. These are the farm's separate layers as they are while you're building them, with dirt floors and torches for temporary lighting. And you would start with some kind of minimal floor just to block the water. And before I talk about layers 1 and 2, I will mention the ceiling. The ceiling needs to do 3 things, which I'm symbolizing with the 3 blocks in this design. The first is lighting. Our floor plan below is counting on lighting just where we put these here. The second is to block skylighting from the center. And you need to block at least 8 so that even when the sky is 15, the farmland below never goes over a 7. Now, in the end, you would still need 1. There's no skylighting in the end. You still need to block sky access with a single block. Anywhere else you need 8, and you don't need to stop at 8. You could make this entire thing opaque. That's just showing you the minimum. The third thing your ceiling needs to do is simply be here and be solid to keep Endermen off your farm. You know, you don't need a ceiling to keep villagers from hopping on your lights and your railings. You could just double them up. But that won't keep the Enderman out. You need a full ceiling of blocks all the way to 1 less than the edge to keep Enderman out. We build each layer with half a drop shaft. The lower one has the space for the villager, and the upper one has the water. And we also build a layer with a lot of temporary torches. These are either the ones around the outside are to fill in for the glowstones that this level doesn't have, or the ones in the middle are to mirror your floor lighting. What it's actually mirroring is the light above, but that isn't there where we're building. It mirrors the floor lighting. If you have the transparent drop shaft, you mirror the floor lighting. And you always have this in the center, because that block is going to be intentionally dark, and it will be spawnable until it's tilled. It's a little simpler up here, because we have our own glowstone lighting here instead of torches. But other than that, it's the same 3 torches mirroring the floor lighting. Each layer has one small building trick. On the top, it is the water placement. And actually, this is kind of a lack of a trick. It's mostly realizing that it really is this simple, because that's the water's natural behavior. And block updates will not change this. Really, all you have to do, as long as everything else is built correctly, is put water right on that slab. And in the schematic area we're viewing now, it stops because of invisible blocks here. But this is the same as a real farm, because in a real farm it will stop on that floating fence gate right there. This is exactly how it is. It will never flow out. On the bottom, the trickiest part is getting the villager inside of here. You will need a little bit of the next layer built just so there's something over his head and he doesn't jump out immediately. That's it. These blocks are waters. I'm not going to fill them in right yet. So what you would do here is break 3 of these and you would have your villager, release him from his minecart or whatever, and just tap him in here. This is so easy, I'm not going to show it. I'm going to show something more interesting. We can bring the villager in later during construction. It's not any harder to do it even after, say, the level above is built. Imagining a full layer here or even a full farm above us. It's not going to be any harder to get the villager in. We would knock out the same 3 blocks, the only difference being we'll immediately place a slab there because there's water here now and we don't want it to get out. And other than that, you'll tap the same villager right through the wall. And no more precision is needed except to get him on that slab somehow and put your wall back. And it's even twice as easy as it just seemed because you only have to do that half as many times, half as many villagers. My test area has a lot of command blocks that I won't be explaining in the video. What they're good for is letting me test designs very quickly in a small amount of space, and I'm sure this will be helpful to anyone else that wants to test designs for these farms without having to build entire farms or throw items at villagers over and over again. Just like that, I would make a villager of seeds and one of carrots and test if they're going to throw to each other or not, without having to feed them all the items over and over again myself or make item streams. So these are very helpful, and you can ask about them in comments, but I know only 3 or 4 people are going to care. The other thing you would need to know about these is to shut them off before you go into the testing area with large 10-layer farms. That's just so they're not putting any extra burden on the CPU when you're trying to get tests done faster. These are testing farms of different sizes. Each one is 10 layers, and this is not a tour, so I'm not going to stare at them and talk too much. I'm using Panda and Sancarn's item counter, which is ideal in every way as far as features go. It is not ideal in terms of tick warping. It was never intended to go over 20 TPS, and it's actually kind of heavy. Over half my CPU when I'm tick warping is in the item counter itself and not the farm. But it does what we want. It measures exactly what we want, item entities, even when they're going over the hopper limit. I have the villager AI disabled with command blocks when I'm not testing. That way I would only enable 1 farm at a time and test faster. But as you can see, the crops get completely overgrown. And not only that, but when you first restore AI to them, and I also give them outlines at the same time. When you first restore AI to them, they somehow reset to an idle state and will hug the central drop shaft, socializing for quite a while. So to get out of this and to get farmland in a neutral state that's not all overgrown, I will tick warp for 2 hours, and I will do that with the item counter off because none of that is usable anyway. That's done, and I could start getting data now, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to show you my spreadsheet instead. But if I were getting data, I would turn the item counter on. I would go here, and I would put a block over the lava, just because I don't know if they can slip past the item counter into the lava. That makes me know they can't. And then I would go back up here and turn it off and on again and tick warp for 1 hour. The data doesn't tell us very much, except that the farms are very close to each other no matter what you do. Each of these is the result of first running a tick warp for 2 hours and throwing the data out, and then an hour, and another hour, and each of those 3 hours is recorded. And these are very consistent with each other and also consistent between farms. They're all very close to 100% of each other. My best result was from this one with lily pads over the water in layers that are 4 blocks high, and that's not possible at 3 blocks. If you put a lily pad on the water, the villager won't be able to walk over it anyway at 3, so there's no point there, but you can do it at 4. And it may be the reason this one performed better, especially because when I changed those lily pads to glass for no reason except to see if it would make it worse, it did get worse. On the other hand, why is this one lower? This is the original version that has the lily pads over. Why is it worse? Probably for no reason except randomness. I think I would need a lot more data to tell if there's a difference. And if there is a difference, it's a matter of it being, say, 2% versus 1% or none at all. I also have a little old data down here just because I don't like to throw out data once I've recorded it. Especially, I don't like to change an experiment halfway through. I feel that's very unscientific. So I noticed one of the farms was rotated 90 degrees while I was doing the tests. And so I rotated it to match all the other farms, and then I did these over. and it seems not to matter at all. One went up, one went down. I don't think this matters. This is the data where everything is consistently rotated, and this is old data that just shows, if anything, that rotating doesn't matter. That's all I have for now. This is my first video, so let me know down in the comments if there's anything I need to do that I'm not doing, anything wrong in here I need to correct, or any new ideas for testing. Just let me know.